It's now 8:21 in Antigua and Barbuda. This is your wake-up call presented by Twin Island Media. Integrated Health Outreach Incorporated, to give it its full correct title, is an incorporated non-profit organization in Antigua and Barbuda that works to improve ecological, community, and social and emotional well-being. Their projects cover a diverse range of areas such as conservation, pollution, youth, women, gender, and more. As part of their efforts to promote conservation of our environment, they are partnering with the National Solid Waste Management Authority on the recruitment of volunteers to serve as litter wardens. The aim is to empower members of the community to take action to help reduce pollution in their respective communities and across the country. Though volunteers are unpaid, these wardens will have the power to enforce the Litter Control and Prevention Act under the guidance of the National Solid Waste Management Authority. Speaking up to us about this issue is Dr. Nicola Bird. She's Executive Director of Integrated Health Outreach Incorporated. And I want to say good morning and welcome to Wake Up Call. How are you?
Good morning, and thank you for having me. And I'm well, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Fridays, Fridays are generally days to be fine, especially when you
Yes.
host a Monday to Friday show. Um, Tell us a little bit about International Health. Tell us a little bit about the organization,
Integrated.
International Health
Yeah.
Outreach.
Integrated health.
Integrated Health
IHO. That's
Outreach, pardon me.
yeah, that's what IHO is simple. That just keeps it nice and simple.
Right.
So we've been around since 2013, and we have been working in communities throughout the Antigua and Barbuda in terms of supporting well-being across all platforms, environmental, social, emotional, vulnerable groups such as women and youth. And our goal is to really enhance our community and really address issues that we face and find solutions through partnerships with communities and enriching and empowering communities, and also working with other organizations or institutions such as government departments, ministries to create change and address, like I said, the issues by creating solutions and change.
Right. Um, the genesis of this idea. Tell us about that. How did the idea and the project develop and come about?
Yeah, so this particular project that we're working on, we are funded by the World Bank. They're in their Global Partnership for Social Accountability. Oh, big name. And in partnership with Critical Ecosystem Partnership Fund. Again, large names, but let's simplify it. The goal of this partnership and this funding supported to us, and it is a regional initiative. It's implemented in Dominican Republic, Antigua and Barbuda, St. Lucia, and Jamaica. So it's very exciting for us to be doing regional work. And so the lead of this project is the Dominican Republic, and we have been partnered with them. And we oversee Antigua and Barbuda and St. Lucia. So it's a real honor, and it's been very exciting initiative, and we've seen lots of wonderful change. The goal of it is to address conservation, and so that this word is very simple. It's just really our environment, working to ensure that we preserve our environment and secure the well-being of our environment. And when we think of the environment is not something outside of us. The environment is everything, including us. And so we do that through a process called social accountability. And to simplify that, and it's very simple actually, especially in action, is that it's the partnership and the bridge between communities and government addressing the issues. So the community meet with government departments that agree to the meetings and understand that this is what we're here for. So, and we meet 2-3 times a year to address the concerns of the community in terms of the environment. So this initiative actually comes out of the community. And the focus for this particular initiative is the NEMMA area, which is the Northeast Marine Management Area, stretching from Pebbles Beach to millreef. And so that's because it's a protected area. And so meaning it's a very important biodiversity or conservation area with very sensitive species, and that we need to ensure that we're conserving that might be threatened. So and so the community came together, and one of the things that the community indicated was a serious issue in that area was illegal dumping and littering because of its impact, its negative impact on the community. And they wanted to see action and change and what could be done. And so these were the solutions that in conversation with National Solid Waste at these meetings were solutions to have community members participate and engage in being empowered and to engage in actions that support the environment. And so I think I've explained that a bit. So let me give you some space to ask more questions.
No problem at all. What powers will the volunteer wardens have, and what will be required of them?
Okay, thank you. Great question. So they will have the same powers of the National Solid Waste Management Litter Prevention Wardens, except that it's a volunteer position. So they will be mentored by these senior and experienced litter wardens. And so they will go through training. We're going to be having an orientation the last week of October, or the third week of October, the third or the fourth week of October. And then training will be for 3 weeks. The third week of November, and we're working out the times, etc. And I'm actually meeting with National Solid Waste and their training today, because this has not been done before, where we have community members coming in and working as volunteers to take ownership for their community, which is very exciting. And because it's very important, because I think it changes the way the community see. If you see a sign up saying illegal dumping and it's an infraction, then it feels like it's being imposed on you. It could feel that way. When we have communities taking ownership of their community, being concerned about their well-being, educating their community members, being part of that community, it really changes the way we look at the problem. We know that we're saying we need to work together to find solutions, which is exciting. So they'll have the 3 weeks of training, and then they will be appointed volunteer litter wardens, and their responsibilities will include handing out fines for illegal dumping and requiring that they turn up in court to give the testimony. So anyone interested, it is a significant and important position. You'll get this wonderful training. But if you're thinking you're just walking around your community, which of course is important, it has another element. So to consider that when you're thinking of applying, the significance of the role and how important it is that we really can can understand how severe it is, that the impact of the severity in our community, our health, our well-being, that littering and illegal dumping creates, that fines are required to ensure that we safeguard our environment as well as our community well-being and health.
I want to ask you, you said that there's a requirement to show up in court?
If they're issued a fine.
Oh.
So because if you issue as a litter prevention warden volunteer, or National Solid Waste Management Authority staff, that's one of the roles that you are given, and the responsibilities that you write tickets, for instance, that you report. So you can take pictures, there are videos that you report on illegal dumping and so you're given that authority. Now, I do want to say that it's not singularly a punitive role, that you're going out like, trying to fine people. I mean, we are looking to educate people, to make people aware. Like if you dump illegally, you are informed, for instance, that you can remove this by a day or two, that you're given like a time frame. And if you don't take action, then fines are given. So it's not that we're going around trying to uh, you know charge people and punish people, but we want it, what we're saying, there are consequences. So part of the education, or if there's action is not taken to rectify or make change, then it's a serious matter. And it is a serious matter when you think of the recent flooding in town, for instance, when we had all that litter clogging the drains and preventing the water from running, and we had the flooding. Not only is it the fact that, of course, flooding is a serious problem, health problem. I mean, mosquitoes and etc. from the water building up, and we know the health hazard that mosquitoes, for instance, serves, but also because the trash and the rubbish that is gathered there, it is all can also be toxic. Like plastics are release harmful chemicals to the environment, so that impact our health and well-being. So it is important that, and so it's not just, so we have the health concern, we have the environmental concern, what the plastics and the illegal dumping impacts our environment and our species and our mangroves, and also, of course, economically, because we're a tourist driven country, and it's we have unsightly waste that visitors coming will be seeing this, that of course it impacts how our nation is seen. So it is an infraction, but like I said, we're not singularly looking for litter wardens to be punishing. It is also educating, making communities aware, creating a change in mindset. So when the communities take ownership for this, where our goal, of course, is to change how we're approaching our behaviors and actions in terms of littering and illegal dumping. But part of that is the responsibility and the authority to charge people for infractions, and then again repeating that they do have to represent this in court and provide the evidence for the charge.
All right. I think certainly based on my experience, well, not experience as a litter warden, but just observing this attempt being made in the past, one of the concerns potential litter wardens had was they did not want to have to appear in court.
Yes.
They didn't want to have to deal with that. They wanted to just, take a picture,
Yes.
send it in to whoever, done with it. Let the process take over from there. And that, I don't know to what extent that might still be a concern. I'm just saying.
Oh, no, we understand. And that's why we make people aware at the registration phase that this is what is required. And so hence, if you are not willing to do that, then you definitely can't participate in this. But we've had incredible response. We've had up to more than 53 people registering. So they will be going through the orientation. At that point, they can decide if this is for them or not for them, for instance. So yes. So that's why we're making it very clear at this stage of public awareness that if you're interested in the volunteering, it does come with that rule as well, and that requirement and that authority.
Right, completely understand. Now, tell us about the NEMMA and why is there a special focus on communities in the NEMMA?
Well, under this particular project, though, the Global Partner for Social Accountability and Critical Ecosystem Partnership Fund, the NEMMA is what is referred to a key biodiversity area. And these are globally appointed areas throughout the world that are identified as very important in terms of their biodiversity, the species, and so we need to protect them. We need to ensure that they are well preserved and well protected. And the species, there's also in these areas some species that are threatened or endangered, like the hawksbill turtle, the West Indies whistling duck, the racer snake, which we don't see on the main island, but in the offshore islands. These are endangered or threatened species that we need to protect and need to safeguard. And so waste is actions by the community that can, or choices that, such as overdevelopment, that impact that environment need to be addressed. So waste is a serious concern because waste goes into the ocean. It goes into the mangroves and the wetlands. I mean, people do a lot of dumping, unfortunately, like in the wetlands, and think that they're not important, but they are actually really important for spawning species and conserving our environment. And so, and while we might not be seeing these species and thinking about them in our day to day, they are an important part of what our well-being as an environment. For instance, mangroves are really important for protection, hurricane protection, but they also spawn species that are vulnerable. So, but you know, I mean, if you go into these spaces, you do see a lot of illegal dumping, and it's very unfortunate because it's like people don't live there, so it's out of sight, out of mind. You just dump there. So those are one of the things that we really need to protect. So the NEMMA area is like has a lot of mangroves and wetlands and important species. So we really need to be our communities and people living outside the communities, I think it's okay to dump litter in these areas, need to understand that it's not okay in the simplest terms.
Yeah, completely understand. Tell us about the donors, though, for this project, and the relationship between the donors and IHO.
Oh, thank you. Well, we couldn't be doing this without our donors. And so basically, a call was made. They put out a call that they would like organizations in the Caribbean to apply for this grant to implement this work, which is conservation or just taking care of your environment. And so we applied, and we were partnered with the Dominican Republic. And so they provide especially a lot of support and guidance and building the capacity of us as an organization as well. And they visited the island. They're very, very pleased with the work we've been doing in Antigua and Barbuda. And so I can say that, for instance, through this initiative and the donor funding and the community meetings, one of the outside of the litter that the partnership warden now have with National Solid Waste Management Authority, we've also had Ministry of Education participate in the meetings with the community and the concerns of the community, which expressed that they wanted to see more education in terms of environment. And so having heard from the community, the Ministry of Education went back and integrated more biodiversity, conservation, and environmental studies into the social studies at the grade 6 level. So they only had it in grade 4. Now they included it in the curriculum, the social sciences curriculum for grade 6, and made it one of the electives. So the important part of this kind of initiative coming from our funding or agents is for the point of bringing together, bridging that community and governance. And we've seen the success. So we're very grateful for them providing this opportunity for us to make these changes and engage in these activities and this process to bring communities and governance together to work together for changes with the concerns of the community. So we've been seeing fantastic results, first with Ministry of Education, now with National Solid Waste Management Authority. And the Litter Water program, we're also looking to do some education in the schools as well, and appoint litter wardens who won't be required to go to court in the schools.
Okay, understood. Very quickly, are there still calls out for litter wardens, potential litter wardens? Anyone who's interested in being a part of this solution to our litter problem?
Absolutely. It goes until October 18. And so if you're interested, and we invite people certainly to to register or seek more information, we have our website, ihoab.com. We also have our social media where you can find us in Instagram and Facebook. And so we're IHOAB or Integrated Health Outreach. You can search us on Facebook and Instagram, find us, and you can register through those platforms as well or through our website.
All right, fantastic. We need to do all we can, whatever support we can lend to, in public awareness and encouraging individuals to become litter wardens and to, well, for those who do listen to us that happen to litter, to stop littering altogether because it's harmful
Yes.
to our environment. I don't know. The mindset of those who litter, I don't know. I can't wrap my mind around it. But
Mm.
I want to thank you very much, Dr. Nicola Bird, Executive Director of Integrated Health Outreach Incorporated. Very grateful for your time this morning, and I wish you every success with this project and this partnership with Solid Waste.
Thank you so much for having us, and have a lovely weekend.
Yeah, you as well. All right, it's now 8:42 in Antigua and Barbuda. This is your wake-up call, presented by Twin Island Media, or friends from the Lions Club.